Things are pretty quiet out here right now, but it's not going to stay that way for long because today is calf weaning day. That's what's going on today on Farmertylerranch. As I said before, today I am weaning the calves, and what that means is that I need to gather up the entire herd here into the working corral, and then I will separate the adult cows from the younger calves. The calves at this point are about 8 months old, which means they are plenty old enough to be away from mother. They no longer need her milk to survive and be healthy, so it's time for them to move on to the next phase. The first step in this process is gathering everybody up here in the big corral, so we're gonna do that now. So got a lot of you up here already. I'm gonna try to gather these up on foot. I'm not sure if it's gonna work or not. Things are certainly not looking good at this point. We might have to run and get the side-by-side, but I think I'll give it one last try here. Get up! Hey! Well, there you go. Sometimes it just takes one more try. I kind of had a feeling they would walk out here, and then when they realized there was no hay or anything waiting for them, that if I could just get them to turn around and move back into this corner, that I could get them. That's one of the big advantages to having your gate in a corner. The pasture naturally funnels them to where you want them to go. So we got them caught now in the big corral. Now we need to catch them in the little corral. One. Get up! All right, pretty smooth so far. Now we can start separating the cows. As we get down to the last few cows in here, they become a lot harder to separate because of the shape of this corral is not really ideal. So what I have found works pretty good in the past is to just start taking groups of calves into the tub, thereby splitting this group up even more. Usually I can get the majority of the calves in the tub and then separate these cows out the front. We got them thinned out pretty good now, so we'll go back to what we were doing before. Hopefully the cows will be a little bit easier to grab. You can see they're wanting real bad to go back where these calves are, so that might end up being an issue, but we'll try it. Well, I finally got the last cow out of here. It was taking forever, so I turned the camera off so I didn't have a bunch of dead footage. And then the opportunity came and she went out. So didn't get it on film, but it did happen. Let's get out of here. There you go. Now I'm gonna open the gate out to this front pasture so that the cows can go out. And the reason that I'm doing that is, for one, so they're not in my hair as I'm trying to work those calves. But for two, when the calves are done in the chute, I think I will put them out here in the big corral so that it's easier to just keep everybody separated. Calves that I've done, calves that I haven't. So get the cows out of here and then we can utilize this corral. So now I can open this gate back up, get all these calves back together. So that is my 2023 calf crop. They look pretty good, but the scale is gonna really tell us how good they actually are. Today, they're gonna run through the chute and get a weight, obviously, and then I'm gonna be vaccinating everybody. After they get their shot, they'll be going into the little field here and living the rest of their life on their own. And I think we will use the paddle for this. Watch out now. What do we got here? 5. Let's grab a couple more if we can. 7, 8. Let's try 8. You've been in here before. Remember that? In the chute now is our little surprise calf. This is the one that was born to the first calf heifer that shouldn't have even been bred yet. And you can see this calf is tiny. She's tipping the scales at 230. Everyone else is about twice that or more. All right, let's get the next group. We'll try 6 this time. Haven't seen all the numbers yet, but I'm guessing this is the heaviest steer. 728 pound weaning weight. Well, I've been going at it here for a little while and haven't been filming too much just because I got a good rhythm going and you hate to interrupt that, but I believe we're down to the final group. Let's go. Come on. Come on. So after we catch them in the chute, we'll figure out what it is. I'm sorry that this is not what you want to do today. 2304. Now we'll enter 2304 into the scale. He weighs 593, then gaining 2.23 pounds per day. Once I've got him weighed and entered into the scale, I'll give him a shot of Ultrabach 8. Hold still, please. There we go. And back out he goes. And in comes the next one. Where are you? 2302. 2302. 685, 2.2. I've got several pretty hefty steers in this group. I'll be very interested to see what the averages are when we get all finished. Forget your shot. Hold still there, boy. $5.99. Pretty good. Well, that is the last calf. So now that we've got everybody through the chute, we've got everybody separated, I got to start getting everybody kind of where they need to go, and then we'll have to go around and feed all of the different groups that we now have. All right, boys, time to go in the bachelor pad. Come on, boys, get in. Don't worry, guys, I'll get you a bale. Just give me a minute. So we got the boys locked in the bullpen. Now I can open the gate and let all of the calves into this little pasture. All right, guys, come on. Off you go. Go on. Go on. Yep, now. Where are you going? Go that way. Now we can let mama cows back in here. first day of weaning, this is pretty typical. Mothers are very upset. Calves really don't care. Well, now that everybody's got something to eat, it's not perfectly silent out here, but it's about as quiet as it's gonna get. So let's go over some of the numbers that we got today. Today I was weighing the calves with this Gallagher W1 scale head, and what I really like about this is that it stores all that information and it calculates averages and does all of that stuff that you have to do so that I don't have to record all the weights by hand like in a notebook or something like that. We can look at the session overview here and it'll give us a good snapshot of what I've got here. Now, some of these numbers I need to go back in and edit. For instance, the minimum pounds here, 161.5, that's actually me standing on the scale to test it to make sure that it was working. The maximum pounds, 730, is a good weight. That's actually really impressive. That's a great weaning weight. The average pounds per head is 556. Again, that number is gonna be a little bit off because that is including my weight in that average, and you know, I'm not quite in the same league as some of these calves. So the average pounds per day is 2, which I thought was pretty good, and I scrolled through some of the animals here and there are definitely a few that stand out ahead of the rest. You can see that I do have a handful of calves here that are getting 2.5 pounds per day or even a little bit better. That number seems really good to me, and keep in mind there's no grain, no growth hormones, no creep feeding, nothing. This is just the calves living on grass and getting mama's milk, and that's it. The W1 scale head will also graph all of the numbers that we got today, which I think this is very helpful to kind of see that the majority of the calves that we weighed today were in that upper range, and the lighter ones are kind of very lightly distributed throughout. The other cool thing that the W1 does is it can sort the data by the tag number, by the weight, by the current pounds per day, overall pounds per day. So really any sort of trait that you're trying to isolate, it's pretty easy to do with this. Before I worked the calves this year, I know I mentioned a couple times that I was very interested in finding out who is the best performing calf out there. And after looking at the data here, it's really no contest. It is calf number 2303. He is the heaviest calf at 730 pounds, and his pounds per day is pretty good as well at 2.54. Only 2 calves had a better daily gain than this guy did, and it wasn't by much. We had one that was 255 and 258, but 2303 still outweighs them both by over 100 pounds. So 2303 is the stud of the group, no doubt about it, but I think 2321 is a close second. He's only 2 pounds lighter, and his average daily gain isn't quite as good as 03, but they're both pretty nice looking boys. I just don't feel like the camera does them justice. Not only is having this information just really interesting and kind of cool to have, but it's also very useful to me when it comes time to make management decisions as far as like which heifers are we going to pick for replacements and which steers do we want to bring into our harvest steer program. As we listen to these cows bawl, I'm sure that there are some people watching that are wondering, why do we even do this? It seems like, you know, it really upsets the animals, so what's the point of it all? And there are actually two important reasons why I have to do this every year, and it is for the benefit of both the cows and the calves, although it may not sound like it right now. Weaning is important to the mother cows because it gives their bodies a chance to take a break. Think about it, they have been lactating for the last 8 months, and this will give them a chance to dry off and just sort of recover. Lactation is very demanding on the cow, and a lot of what she eats is used for that. So it's really, in my opinion, it's to their benefit to have this sort of off season where they can just sort of take a break and just get ready for the next go around. Weaning is also important for the calves, especially for me in this facility or in my setup here, because when I start feeding hay to the animals and gradually over the next weeks that will become their primary source of food, it is very difficult to feed cows and calves together in such a way where the calves are going to get enough to eat. Cattle, or pretty much any livestock, are very competitive eaters by nature, and when you offer the animals a set amount of food, those cows are going to push the calves out of the way and basically eat as much as they can, and leaving the calves to sort of, you know, eat up the scraps or whatever's left. By separating the animals, I can better manage what each group of animal is eating, and I can match that to the life stage that they're in so that we can meet those requirements that need to be met. As I mentioned before, now the cows are drying up so they can go on to a maintenance ration, meaning we're not trying to gain weight, we're not lactating, we're not really doing much of anything at this stage, so their feed requirements will go down. Now that will all change here in a couple months when they enter that third trimester of pregnancy, and a lot of fetal growth starts taking place during that time, and we'll have to up them a little bit then. But for now, this is what I would say is like the easiest part of the year for them. The calves, on the other hand, are at an age where we want them to grow, so they're basically gonna get a ration here that's all that they can eat. I'll fill up these round bale feeders, and then when they go empty, I'll just fill them back up again. Usually it takes about 3 or 4 days, maybe a little bit longer at this age because they're a little bit smaller. These calves will always have access, free choice to as much hay as they want, because right now in this stage of their life, that's what they need. So while it may not seem like a very nice thing to do right now as we listen to them cry, it's really for everybody's benefit. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys, and I hope I'll see you again on Farmer Tyler Ranch.